In recent months, American economic policy under President Donald Trump has come under rigorous scrutiny as the fallout from his tariff measures has become increasingly evident. This report examines the policy's catastrophic effects on the market, the strategic calculations behind its imposition, and the broader implications for both domestic and international political landscapes. As we delve into the critical details, our analysis is supplemented by expert insights from Tommy Vitor of Safe America and data scientist Elliot Morris. Trump's decision to impose sweeping tariffs was framed as a defensive maneuver to protect American industries. However, the policy has produced results that have reverberated throughout the economy with alarming speed. Financial markets have plummeted, erasing gains that had been accumulated over previous years, and large-scale layoffs have become the order of the day in many sectors. Recessionary fears have intensified, while inflation continues to threaten consumer stability. Rather than inviting the world's economic powers to the negotiating table, it appears that the tariffs have spurred other nations to seek new alliances and trade agreements independently, excluding the United States entirely. Notably, new partnerships involving China, Japan, and South Korea have emerged, suggesting that the global market is rapidly reorienting itself in response to the US economic posture. Closer examination reveals a calculated strategy behind these measures. After the election, Trump acknowledged that one of his significant election-winning factors was his focus on the high costs borne by everyday Americans. Yet, despite understanding the detrimental effects of such costs, his policy has continued unabated. In a seemingly paradoxical manner, he has enacted blanket tariffs on virtually every nation. The objective appears to be twofold. On one hand, to leverage an economic pressure that forces his political adversaries and critical institutions into concessions. On the other, to secure personal benefits that extend well beyond conventional political gain. Indeed, a pattern emerges when observing Trump's approach to external pressures. In dealings with law firms, for instance, he has imposed a strategy that forces them into submission through executive orders. The resulting agreements have seen him receive upwards of $40 million to $100 million in pro bono legal services. A similar tactic has been employed with major media outlets. Networks like ABC News and CBS, faced with the threat of protracted legal challenges, have sought to settle, thereby neutralizing potential scrutiny. Even technology giants such as Meta have shifted operational strategies, exemplified by Mark Zuckerberg's decision to relocate key fact-checking operations to Texas in an attempt to avoid conflict with the administration. This strategy of coercion extends beyond domestic institutions to encompass international relations as Trump pursues economic concessions from global leaders. The domestic political fallout from these measures is becoming alarmingly clear. The economic pain imposed by tariffs, coupled with high inflation and significant job losses, 2.9 million according to some reports, has rendered the policy deeply unpopular. Historically, incumbent governments around the world have seen similar economic conditions result in plummeting support, and the United States is no exception. Recent electoral events offer a glimpse into this trend. In Florida, special elections have recorded substantial overperformance by Democratic candidates in districts that had previously yielded overwhelming victories for Trump by margins as wide as 30 percentage points. And the shift in these districts, with swings ranging from 16 to 22 percentage points, highlights a growing disenchantment within the electorate. In Wisconsin, the outcome of the Supreme Court race, where Susan Crawford defeated Brad Schimmel by an 11-point margin compared to a 1-point loss in 2024, further underscores the erosion of support for Trump-related policies. Furthermore, data emerging from battleground regions in Pennsylvania indicate a similar trend, where even minimal shifts in voter turnout can have considerable political repercussions. These domestic shifts are complemented by a broader international backlash. Trump's economic policies have not only strained relationships with established allies, but have also inadvertently fueled nationalist sentiments abroad. In Canada, for example, the administration's aggressive stance has prompted high-ranking figures like Mark Carney and Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to mount a vigorous response. Their defiant posture, driven by the desire to protect their economic sovereignty, has reinvigorated nationalist fervour, a sentiment that was virtually absent until now. Such developments suggest that Trump's policies, intended to assert American dominance, have instead precipitated a counter-reaction among global leaders determined to defend their national interests. Amidst this charged political and economic environment, expert analysis provides valuable context. Inalienable context. In interviews conducted with Tommy Vietor and data scientist Elliot Morris, a consensus emerges that the current crisis is not an accident, but a direct outcome of deliberate policy decisions. Vietor elaborates on the systemic market crashes and economic contractions that have destabilized American businesses. Morris, on the other hand, underscores how changes in voter behavior, particularly within traditionally conservative strongholds, reflect broader disillusionment with an administration that prioritizes personal gain over public welfare. Their insights suggest that Trump's approach, while beneficial to a select few, is undermining the broader stability of the nation's economy. A critical aspect of this strategy is the deliberate use of economic pressure to coerce concessions from various power centers. Trump's method is systematic. By inflicting measurable economic harm on law firms, media companies, and technology giants, he compels these institutions to offer him substantial benefits, thereby insulating himself from future challenges. This approach has allowed him to neutralize key sectors that might otherwise serve as counterweights to his power. Even as his policies wreak havoc on the broader economy, the personal consequences for him remain minimal. As a billionaire, shielded from the day-to-day economic hardships experienced by ordinary citizens, he appears willing to let the collateral damage accumulate 350 million people across the nation are, by some estimates, paying the price of a policy engineered to expand his power. The report also points to a turning tide in political consciousness. While the economic missteps of the Trump era have inflicted widespread suffering, they have concurrently sparked a resurgence of civic activism and electoral engagement. The revocation of Ali Stefanik's nomination as the UN ambassador, a decision driven by fears of electoral vulnerability, serves as a reminder of the administration's susceptibility to public pressure. In states like Florida and Wisconsin, recent election results indicate that a significant segment of the electorate is reconsidering its support, with former strongholds now witnessing robust turnout by Democrats and independents alike. These developments are symptomatic of a broader awakening among voters who are no longer willing to accept policies that prioritize the interests of a single individual over the welfare of the public. The long-term implications for American democracy are profound. If this pattern of coercion and unchecked economic maneuvering persists, the risk is not merely one of financial instability, but of an erosion in the very foundations of democratic accountability. The administration's reliance on punitive economic measures to consolidate power reveals an approach where the well-being of the nation is sacrificed for the expansion of personal influence. In contrast, the growing resistance among citizens, reflected in increased voter turnout and a reawakened sense of political engagement, suggests that the electorate is gradually rejecting this paradigm. It is becoming increasingly clear that the public's willingness to protest, vote, and demand accountability may well serve as the corrective force in this unfolding crisis. Looking ahead, the convergence of economic distress and political mobilization sets the stage for a critical juncture in American history. The coming midterm elections, along with the broader global response to Trump's policies, will likely redefine the political landscape. As the nation grapples with the fallout from an administration that has repeatedly prioritized personal aggrandizement over national welfare, it is imperative for citizens to remain vigilant. The report concludes that while the current administration's policies have caused significant harm, they have also inadvertently galvanized a movement that could reshape the balance of power in the years to come. In summation, the narrative of the Trump administration's economic strategy is one defined by deliberate coercion, systemic economic disruption, and a profound disconnect between policy and the everyday experiences of the American people. Although the tariffs have generated financial benefits for a privileged few, the resulting market crashes, job losses, and international backlash have left the broader populace bearing the brunt of these decisions. The emerging political resistance, manifested through both increased civic participation and strategic electoral shifts, offers a glimmer of hope that this period of unilateral policy imposition may soon be curtailed. As the midterm elections draw near, the need for incisive, fact-based analysis has never been greater. A call for accountability that echoes across both national and international corridors of power. Oh,